Welcome to part two of my 10-part series on how to become a millionaire. What I want to do is cover part two, and part two is pretty simple. Rule two, your home ownership, and the bottom line is you should not be seen as an investment. This is a big difference between middle class, lower middle class, uh, and lower middle class and millionaires. It is that they see, sorry about that, they see their home as a investment. They see their home as a vehicle to wealth, and that is not the mentality you should have. Several reasons for this. The big one is the lack of liquidity, and that's the biggest reason why your home should not be seen as an investment. If you own a stock and the stock goes up, you can sell it for a profit, and you can just sell it pretty much quite easily. If you have a home and it goes up, you cannot sell it immediately. You can't sell it. You won't see the return for quite some time. So that's the biggest difference. A stock will go up. You can sell for a profit. A home, it goes up, and you're still stuck there. You're not going to realize it until you actually sell the home. What you could do is you could take out a home equity loan, but I highly advise against that for two reasons. One, the interest is going to be pretty high. It's probably going to be a lot higher than your mortgage. So you'll be putting a hefty rate of interest on that if you can get an actual bank to lend you the money against your house. And more importantly, if you have a home equity line of credit or home equity loan and you default on that, then you lose your home. And that's no fun. The risk is for most people is probably too much to actually even mess with home equity loans or reverse mortgages or anything on those ends. So bottom line, that's the biggest issue with a home. You could sell a stock, no problems. A home, when it goes up in value, there's significant transition costs, significant transition work that needs to be done. So that's why, again, millionaires rarely look at their home as an investment. Other key thing is that the low rate of return. During the boom years, and only during the boom years, you had a rate of return of about 10%. And the boom years were about 2002 to 2007. That's something that's not historical by any standards. Usually homes they appreciate at about 3% annually, and that's about the rate of inflation. So usually you're breaking even, or you're not making too much on your home. Stocks, the S&P 500, even with the drop that we saw in 2008, you're still talking about a 9 to 10% over a 100-year period. So that's what you're seeing consistently. So that's usually a better investment than most people realize. Now, what the counter argument is that a home you can leverage. No bank is going to give you $300,000 to buy a bunch of stock, but a bank will probably, if you have good credit, give you a home, and you could put, let's say, 20% down. And a bank, if your home is $300,000, will give you the other 200, and will give you the other 80%. So you put down $60,000. The bank gave you $240K. And you've only put in this much, but your home appreciates even at 3%. So after the first year, you have $309,000. Let's just say it appreciates by 3%. You have 309. Well, you only put $60,000 in, and you've already made $69,000. You know, that's a pretty good return on your investment. But, and this is where, you know, you'll hear a lot of seminar scammers will give you this. A lot of these real estate seminars will give you this math puzzle here and just say, hey, you'll get rich in real estate. No, you have transition costs. You have home equity loans. You have other costs that aren't factored into this. So yes, over a long term, you'll probably make a profit. However, again, it's a long-term proposition. Do not expect to be making money or investing for the future based on your own home ownership. And finally, it's what I call is the unknown costs. You know, if you're renting, you don't have to pay property taxes. You don't have to pay insurance. You don't have to pay maintenance when your air conditioning falls through. It's on you if you're a homeowner. It's not if you're a renter. So those are kind of the issues with home ownership. And then obviously the big thing is for most people, 6% transition costs. If you want it when you sell your home, that is what you'd probably pay to a realtor for he or she to sell it. So those are the big costs that aren't factored when you think of a home as an investment. Am I against home ownership? No. I mean, if you're going to stay in a home, and some people say 5 years, I recommend 10 years to stay in a home. But if you're going to stay in a home for 10 years, okay, you know, go ahead and buy that house. You gain equity after 10 years. You pay less in transition costs as opposed to if you keep turning over your home. And you get a tax deduction, which I'll talk about later. But you know, if you're in a high cost of living area, that tax deduction can help. But again, bottom line is only the middle class and the poor look at their home as an investment. If you want that millionaire mentality, do not look at your home as an investment. Look at it as a place to live. So that kind of concludes part 2, and next week we'll go into part 3.